Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the new Hourglass Holiday 2024 release. This morning, Hourglass launched their new Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. They did 3 palettes just like they did last year. And I'm very excited about this year. Well, first of all, last year's palettes were my favorite ones yet. So I'm very excited about this year's palette because I feel like they're just improving as time goes by. Like they're just getting better at these limited edition releases. I have my palettes here with me from the past couple of years in case we want to compare some to the new releases. So I'm very excited to get into that. Today's video is not a review, it's a will I buy it video. So we are going to be very detailed with everything that's on the Hourglass website, and we're going to discuss these new palettes to see whether or not they're worth it until I get to my order. Will I buy them? I already did buy all 3 of them, so I can review them for you, of course. But if I didn't have this job, I don't know if I would. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A huge thanks to my friend Andrea for joining me this late as my moderator. This was, I'm sorry, this was not a planned, I've been wanting to film this video all day, okay? But it wasn't a planned live. I just figured like 2 hours ago, I should make it a live video because my baby daughter, she just turned 3 months old and she had some shots today. So she was fuzzy all day. I couldn't get to like doing anything. I was just a baby carrier, a fuzzy baby carrier for the last 8 hours. Okay, she just would wake up and start screaming and I felt so bad for her. So I just had to hold her all day. I couldn't get any work done and she's now asleep. So I figured we could jump on a live. I did my makeup real quick. I didn't do any bronzer or blush, so maybe I'll play with the Hourglass palettes from last year. So that's why I'm here this late. I apologize for the late live, but if you could join me, it is amazing and I'm so glad that you guys are here. El Next, thank you. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. And Sully, Marie, hi, how's it going? I was excited, but not about the packaging. Okay, we'll talk about packaging. We'll talk about the new shades and everything in between. Let's first talk about the price actually, because the prices keep going up. These palettes years ago, I believe, were $80. They might have started at $75, but we'll go with $80. They were $80. Then I think last year's releases were $85. And we are now at $90 per Hourglass palette. Now, if you know Hourglass as a brand, if you buy their like individually packaged bigger powders, which they are very known for, you know that those are expensive. Those are like $40 to $50 a piece. And so to get 8 different shades, even if they are in like mini sizes in a palette, might still be a goodish deal. When I worked at Sephora, this price might have gone up already too, because I haven't shopped for their individual minis in a while. But I believe that if I remember correctly, their individual minis were $25 and you get 6 in this palette. So technically they are discounted, but they're $90. They're pretty expensive for sure. Ooh, I see more people in the chat now. I think my chat was a little slow. Hi Trisha and Lisa and Wendy. The price for them make me so mad, but they're so good. I know, they are so beautiful. Hi Adriana, thank you for joining. Adriana says, first year I'm actually interested in buying one of these palettes due to the new shades. Yes, and these palettes have 5 new shades each, which is very exciting because in past years we've gotten a lot of repeated shades from like their collection. Like they have, like I said, their regular shades in their palette, in their pans that they sell full size, and they would just put those in the mini palettes, but then it got a little repetitive. I feel like last year's main complaint was that like one of the palettes had a lot of new shades, but the other 2 had a lot of repeated shades. And so I'm glad that each one of the different depths in the palettes have the same amount of new shades, because you know, fair is fair. Anyways, let's talk about packaging. Let's go to the website and see what the packaging looks like. let me get little me on the screen. What am I doing? Okay, here's little me, and let me share my screen. There we go. So here is the Hourglass website. I have the link, the early access link, so that you can access this palette pinned in the comments. I also have it in the live chat comments. I also have it in the description box of my video. I'll pin it in the comment section once the video is uploaded as well. So if you are interested in the palettes with that early access link, you can now see them and purchase them. It is an affiliated link, so whenever you shop from my link, I do make a little commission. Anyways, there is 3 new palettes. I already said that. There's 3 new designs for the packaging of the palette. The illustrator who did these designs was the same illustrator as last year's design, and the palette on the screen right now is the lightest one of the 3, which is the Dragon palette. Let me change the information on here, which is the Dragon palette. I love the gold case with the dragon drawing in there, and as you can see, this palette has pretty light shades in it. This would be the palette that is going to be better for people like with my complexion for the most part. One thing I immediately noticed and loved about not only this palette, but I think all 3 I'll make sure it's all 3. But my favorite thing about last year's release was the bronzer, because in past years, Hourglass used to give us warm bronzers. I've never been into warm bronzers, or bronzers that were too shimmery. And with the release, I'm going to show you on the screen right here, of this palette here last year. You can see mine is kind of abused. They gave us a cool toned, not fully matte, but like a natural finish, cool toned bronzer in this jellyfish palette, and that was my favorite thing about last year's release, and also the reason why I love last year releases over all of the past ones, and the reason that the jellyfish palette is my most used Hourglass ambient palette ever. It's because of the bronzer. I am a bronzer person, and my bronzer cannot be shiny, and my bronzer cannot be glittery, and my bronzer cannot be too warm. So I was very excited about last year's bronzer. And back to this year's palette, the bronzer in this year's palette has that matte-ish kind of, it's like a satin finish bronzer that looks to be very cool toned, and so I am very excited about that. I should have had this picture on the screen. Anyways, I'm going to move this way so I can see the shot a little bit. Baby Evelyn is doing great. Thank you for asking. She did get shots today, so she was fuzzy all day, which is why I'm doing a live at 11 p.m. But other than that, she should be good tomorrow. Anyways, so the bronzer is a new shade, as you can see on the screen. It is called the new Soft Bronze shade, and I love that it looks to be a matte-ish, cool-toned bronzer. I also really love from this Dragon palette the shade Peach Fusion. It is a beautiful, beautiful shade in my opinion. Let me feature some benefits. Peach Fusion. Let me look for it right here. It just says a soft peach pink. That is what it's described as. It doesn't look too shimmery, which I'm excited about. It looks to have that semi-satin finish to it. And the color, just, I know that I'm going to love the shade Peach Fusion's color. I also really like the look of the shade Mauve Haze. The blushes in this Dragon palette are definitely totally my style. If I were to, I think we'll discuss it after I see all 3, but I think if I were to buy these, just one of them, I would probably go for the Dragon one, because I love the bronzer. Looks fantastic. The 2 blushes look amazing. Dream Light, which is a finishing powder, is a beautiful brightening finishing powder for my complexion, which I already have, but I do love. Divine Light, which is another finishing powder, a new shade of finishing powder, looks nice. I'm kind of meh about the fact that there's 2 different finishing powders in here. I would have wished for a lighter highlighter. because the new highlighter in the shade Sunlit Strobe Light right here, it looks dark, doesn't it? For the color story of this Dragon palette in general, in my personal humble opinion, it's a little too close to the shade of the bronzer. It's darker than the Peach Fusion shade. I think maybe once I get the palette in my hands and I tried it, I will be proven wrong. I hope that I'm proven wrong. But I think that that highlighter is too dark for the skin type for which this palette seems to be designed for. Also, I just noticed, you guys, that I did not, excuse me while I fix this, preferences. I just noticed that I connected my mic, but I don't think I have my mic working. Hold on. Let me put myself back on the screen for these technical difficulties, because you guys might not be hearing me at the best quality. Let me... Here I am. Okay. Just let me go to my settings real quick. And system preferences. Okay, I had clicked the wrong thing already. Sound. Okay. Did the audio change? You should be happier about how I sound right now. So we'll go back to sharing the screen and all of that good stuff. Here, and let me put me back on the screen as well. All right, sorry about that. We are back. Mic is still working. Yes, thank you. But now I probably sound better now. Okay, so let me go back to the website so we can discuss this. So I went through all of the shades in this one. Basically, the only thing I'm pretty confused about is the Sunlit Strobe Light Strobe Powder. Again, I think it looks a bit too dark for the rest of the shades in this palette. But let's look at some other pictures. Like this is the peach shade on the model. I love the look of it, honestly. I just know that I'm going to really, really like that peach color. And she looks highlighted, but I wonder if the highlight comes from that Sunlit Strobe Light Powder highlighter, because again, it just looks so dark for me. So let's talk about, I think I showed you all of the pictures I wanted to show you from this one, so we can move on to the Evil Eye palette, which seems to be their palette for medium complexions this year. I don't know about the design of this one, to be honest with you. I love the design, the outside design of the Dragon palette, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Evil Eye design. Maybe, I don't know. It just, it's meh to me. I don't care for it that much, but I don't mind it either. Something they did last year that isn't being done this year again is last year you could select the color story you wanted. Let's say I wanted the jellyfish color story, and you could put this color story inside any of the 4 different cases they had available. So they had 3 color stories and 4 different cases, and you could put whatever color story you wanted inside the case you wanted, exclusively on the Hourglass website. And customize your palette like that, and they've taken that away this year. You can't customize them anymore. Depending on your skin tone, you get a specific design. Anyways, besides the outside packaging of the Evil Eye palette, which I don't really care for, but it's also not ugly. It's just I'm not obsessed for it, but I don't think it's ugly either. Anyways, let's look at the shades. So this one, starting with the bronzer because it's my favorite thing, also seems to have one of those satin finish bronzers, not shiny. It doesn't look too warm, and it doesn't look glittery either. Let me see on the features and benefits. Dreamlight, the natural bronze. It's called natural bronze. Okay, soft bronze, matte, natural bronze. Okay, so they're calling it matte. I'm going to call it a satin finish because I know their matte is more of a satin finish. Any shade in any case? I mean, for the price, yes, you should. It is available to select the color and packaging. Really? I don't see the option to select different packaging. I just see the option to select the different palettes, but not the different packaging on the website. So I was reading a comment of someone who was saying that that option was available. Cancel. It says if you search ambient palette on the website, there's an option to customize. Okay, Steph says she's looking at the page and it is letting her pick the case. See, this is why I'm glad this video is live, because you guys can correct me when I'm wrong. I did not know that was an option this year. In fact, I still don't see it as an option where I'm looking. But if you guys are telling me that you are seeing it on your end and that you can customize your palette, that is fantastic. So I take back everything I just said. It says, so okay, let me do what you're telling me. I'm going to open a different screen just in case. And I'm going to search ambient lighting. See, on my end, when you search that, the palette doesn't even... Oh, here they are. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so now that we're here, where do you... I see the same thing I see that I saw earlier. Follow the customize your palette link. Okay, so you have to follow the customize your palette link in the early access email. That makes more sense. I'm not going to pull up my access, my email. Okay, perfect. You guys can choose your... Fantastic. You guys can choose your own palette. That is great. Or maybe I should. Hold on. Okay. I'm invested in the customization thing now. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me go to my early access email. Because I want to be able to show you. Hourglass. Early access is yours. Okay, you know what? Since the video is live and I don't want to waste you guys' time, let's just say that we know that you can customize it. I'm not finding the option. And I don't have the early access email. I think I deleted it or something. Anyways, so back to the Evil Eye palette, which you can customize the case for. I was talking about the natural bronzer and the fact that I like that it's not shiny and it looks pretty cool tone. I hope it looks darker than the previous one, so I hope it is actually Andrea, the customization was on the previous page. It was after the palette you clicked on. Darn it. Let's go back. Custom palette. There it is, you guys. There it is. So here are the options. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you guys the direct link in case you're not dumb like me, but in case you are a little distracted like I am, I'm going to give you guys the link to that so that you can just go straight there instead of doing all the struggling I've been doing. So let me get myself back on the screen really quickly. Okay, here I am. Give me 1 quick second. I'm gonna do some secret stuff here. I'm kidding, I don't have any secrets, but I will give you an updated affiliate link. In case you want to, in case you want to support me, you can support me with the right to the customizable situation. Create new link. Let's do the link. Let's do the link. Okay, Andrea, I think you can pin this link for me. Okay, actually pin the next message. Customize your palette. Okay, if you can pin that one, please. So that will take you guys to the right stuff. And here I am again. Okay, so that is the link to the right place. If you want to customize your palette and your color story, that will take you there. I will go back to the previous screen so we can continue to discuss. We're never going to finish discussing this Evil Eye palette right here. So the Rose Gold Strobe Light Strobe Powder. First of all, the Soft Light Finishing Powder, which is this top left shade right here, is the repeated shade in this one, which is it's just a finishing powder for that is suited for people who have medium complexions. And then I have had a long day. Replace pin message. Okay. Did I pin the right thing now? Early access to the palette now. Okay, because Andrea was having difficulties. Replace pin message. Message pinned. Okay. Never mind, Andrea. I'll see if you have the access to that. I thought you did. But I went ahead and replaced the pinned comment. And so now the new pinned comment is the link to the customizable palette. Back to this. This is a messy live, okay? Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Anyways, so the Soft Light Finishing Powder, this one is the shade that is already existing, and it is a really nice satin finish all over setting powder for people with medium complexions. I'm excited to try the new Rose Gold Strobe Light Strobe Powder. So this is also going to be a glowy finishing powder. I think this is supposed to be more blushy. Like, I'm thinking it'll have a rosy finish to it. Let me check on the shades. So this is called Rose Gold Strobe Light. Strobe powder. This is so it's a translucent with a sheer pink sheen. That's what it's described as. So I'm excited to try that one. I'm also excited. The Pink Fusion blush shade honestly looks like a lot of the shades that they've released in the past, to be honest with you. The Pink Fusion blush shade, even though it's a new shade, to me looks kind of repetitive, like they've done shades like that in the past. Then we have at the bottom the Oasis Glow Blush, which is a very interesting color for a blush because it looks pretty bronzy. If it didn't say it was a blush, I would have assumed as a highlighter because it looks pretty highlighty to me. But then if that were to be the highlighter, I mean, if that, since it's a blush and not a highlighter, then that means this palette doesn't really technically have a highlighter in it. I'm very curious to try this one because as I'm looking at the shades, everything looks a little different than what I thought. Let me go back to the features and benefits and see Oasis Glow and what that's described as. Okay, I am in the right one, right? Rose Gold Oasis Glow. Are you guys looking at it? Cool Pear Soft Lavender Sheen Dreamlight Cool. See, this is like in the wrong palette or something. Let me refresh my screen because I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. Oh, and we have slow internet too? Gosh. Okay, Evil Eye palette. We are at the right one, even though the picture is not the right one. Hold on. So, features and benefits. Soft plum. What? I am so confused. I should not be doing a live video at 11 p.m. clearly. That's what that's telling me. Okay, that was interesting. Give me 1 second. Let me figure this out. I am so sorry. I cannot wait for the comments once people watch this video not live and they're like, that was so annoying. I am so sorry, you guys. Now I can't even get back to the freaking palette with the shades. Okay, here we go. I just wanted to get back here because I can't figure it out. Anyways, so the Oasis Glow blush I was telling you guys does not look like a blush to me at all. And then the Vibrant Color blush is pretty, but also seems like the blushes in this one in particular just seem like things we've seen before. That Vibrant Color blush also reminds me of a blush from last year. Was it in the Elephant? No. Let me tell you exactly the blush it reminds me of. See, it kind of looks like that. No, it wasn't that one. Hold on. The Butterfly. Yes, it looks like this blush in the Butterfly palette, number 5, which is called Sunset Glow. That's exactly what it reminds me of. Although it looks a bit more highlighty, this one has that more soft finish to it, but it looks also like something they've done before. And then I am very excited about the bronzer. I don't know how I'll feel about this one once I try it. I can't wait to try it and tell you guys about it because I'm very hot and cold about a lot of the shades that I'm seeing here, to be honest with you. So let's jump to the last one, which is the one for dark complexions. I don't know that this will be for deep complexions. I doubt it, just like last year, to be honest. I think dark complexions, hopefully, probably, will be able to wear this one. I have my friend Erica Tesla. I don't know if you guys follow her. If you don't, you should. She's amazing. She has a YouTube channel and a fantastic Instagram account. So my friend Erica Tesla is going to send me swatches on her skin tone of this palette because she ordered it for herself. So I'll be able to include that in my review video once I upload it. Anyways, so this palette also has 5 new shades, like every single one of the palettes, and the shade that is repeated in this one is the Eternal Light Finishing Powder, which is this like golden yellowish finishing powder shade. It looks a little odd, I think, to be a finishing powder, but these are super translucent, so this definitely works for a dark complexion. The blush shade in the middle is called, it's a new shade and it's called Desert Flush, and it's described as a blush shade. That to me looks a bit more highlighty on a darker complexion than a blush shade, because if you have a dark complexion, that just looks very light for a blush. However, right underneath it, red O right here, I think is going to be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful blush for dark complexions, even deep complexions with that one. I think would work. And then we have a new strobe powder on the top left in this one, the Gilded Strobe Light Strobe Powder. That one looks to be one of the ones that have a bit more of a glowy finish to them. So we'll see how that one works. And at the bottom on the left, we have the new Radiant Rose Strobe Light Strobe Powder, which seems to be a blush with a very glowy finish to it. I feel like all of the shades I've discussed so far on this palette would work for dark and deep complexions. The one that I'm not certain will work for deep complexions is mostly the bronzer. Well, Desert Flush is a bit light for blush, but as a highlighter, I think it would work. So the new Bronze Heat Bronzer, I think, would probably be good for someone with a tan to dark complexion, but I doubt that would be a good bronzer on someone with a truly deep complexion. So that is something that we have to test out and see once I get the palette. I'll have my friend Erica Tesla send me her swatches of this on her dark complexion, and I need to see if I can. I don't know if anyone would. I don't know if I know anyone who has a truly deep complexion that will get this palette, but if I do, I'll get swatches from them. Anyways, let me get myself back on the screen and talk to you guys for a little while. Now that we've discussed all of the different shades in all of these palettes, I don't know that. Also, let's go back to the customization page actually, because I didn't talk about it much. And the brushes. These palettes launched with a double-ended limited edition blush brush. And they have two different designs, so you can get the double-ended brush in the dragon design, or you can get it in the evil eye design. I did not purchase the brush myself because I need a new brush, like a hole in the head. I don't need it. But Hourglass does make really beautiful brushes. Are they my favorite? No, not really. But they're nice, but they're not my favorite. I think the cool thing about this one is mainly just the fact that it goes so well with your palette, right? And so back to this, if you guys want to customize your palette and you want to put whatever color story inside whatever case, the link that I pinned in the video is the link that will take you to this customization page. Okay. Please use it. It took me a while to get it. That was definitely a struggle to get there. Okay. So you guys are still trying to give me instructions on how to get to like the stuff I wanted to get to earlier, but I promise you, if I read it, I'm just going to get more confused because I've been awake since very early. It's 11 and I've spent all day with a crying baby. So I apologize for all of the mishaps in this live video. At least I sound okay, right? And the video is not jumping all around like it's happened in the past. Anyways, I'm so glad you guys are here. 91 of you are watching live, which is, I'm very, very grateful, by the way, because I know it's late and this was an unannounced live video. Okay. So L Nags is saying, I feel like they made the deeper palette to shut people up, but they still missed the mark. I feel like they've been improving though. Like it was a huge thing like 3 years ago. And then with the release of I believe they did Tiger first a couple of years ago, things started getting a little better. But like this bronzer shade, and I feel like it's always the bronzer, right? That doesn't meet up the expectations, but they did pretty good with the Tiger palette. I believe this one was pretty popular. And was it this one last year? No. The Snake palette. The Snake palette last year, they did... Hold on. Butterfly. The Butterfly palette. No. Really? I thought there was another one that was dark. Maybe I'm just proving your points. I remember the Tiger palette. I guess it was the Snake palette last year, but the or maybe the Snake palette was 2 years ago. The bronzer is always the thing that, like, I just don't know if it works for dark complexion. So these are their 2 dark palettes from previous years right here. I'm very excited to see if this year's palette color story is overall darker than these 2 that they've previously released, because it's always the same complaint that they just don't go deep enough for people who have deeper complexions in the color stories that they release with these palettes here. So I'm excited to see and compare this year's darker palette to these right here. And then, since I don't have any bronzer on or anything, I'll tell you about my favorite one they have ever released, which was last year's release of the Jellyfish palette. And as I was telling you earlier, for me the importance of the shades of the bronzers in each one of the different palettes being cool toned and this matte beautiful finish that they have is that the reason this palette got so much use from me, and it's been getting so much use from me since I got it last year, is definitely the beautiful bronzer with the stunning satin finish and the cool tone. Because I have never, before this bronzer came out, I have never liked, as you can see, it's pretty pigmented too. An Hourglass bronzer before, they were always a little too shiny, they were always a little too gold, or they had like glitter thrown in there. And I would love the palettes and like the blushes of these palettes. I would love the finishing powders and the highlighters even, but I was never a fan of the bronzers. And so the fact that all 3 palettes this year have a promising looking bronzer has me very excited. I'm wearing the Patrick Ta foundation, by the way, that I bought the other day. And even though I changed my shade to shade 10, I wish it was darker still. So here's that bronzer blended. I think I applied too much to my forehead. But it has that beautiful cool toned with the stunning like satin finish. It looks natural. It blends like a dream, but it's not super warm like it's been in previous years, and it doesn't have any shine to it. I have used and abused this palette since it came out. It was one of my favorite releases last year. I stopped talking about it on my channel the moment it fully sold out, because after it sells out, what's the point, right? But I have continued to use it a lot in my personal life. Whenever I leave my house to go anywhere, this palette comes with me, because I just love that I have everything in one, and I have a bronzer that I love. As I said, bronzer to me, very, very important. I'm just going to mix both of these blush shades and apply some blush to my cheeks. How often do you use your Hourglass palettes? Okay, so Bonnie was asking, Patty, how often do you use your Hourglass palettes? That's what I would like to know. Is it something I would love so much that I would want to wear every day? I'm thinking because it's pretty pricey. Yes, I really love them and I use them quite often. I don't talk about them super often after they fully sell out, because I want to give you guys access to, I want to chat about products that are available that you guys can still purchase. I don't want to, forever talk about something that you can no longer have access to. I am going off on the pigment today, okay? But even if I don't mention it as often on my channel after it sells out, I do still use it a lot in my personal life, especially if I travel anywhere, because it's just a very easy palette to have with you and create looks with all the time. Okay, so I'm going to use one of the finishing powders to kind of tone everything down and blend everything together. I'm going to clean this brush because I don't know what I had in it before. Does anyone else feel like the package art for this year is very random? I don't get the theme. I agree, because in the last couple of years, they always had like an animal theme going on. Maybe with the lotus flowers and the dragon, you could maybe think it's like an oriental thing, but I don't know if the evil eye thing it's an oriental thing or not. So yes, I do agree. I'm going to use this shade right here. I do agree that the theme is a bit weird because usually, since they have the 5% donation to the Human Right for Animals Foundation, it made sense that they would do animal palettes every year. But this year, the only animal is a fantasy creature, which is a dragon, and then everything else is actually kind of random. So I'm just using this as an all over powder to kind of fuse the bronzer and the blush together and soft everything out. This blush is from the Morphe and Ariel collection. And Cody said that she uses her palette from last year all the time. Last year was her first time buying one, and it immediately became an obsession for her. The powders are beautiful, even on aging skin, and she is 48. And I agree, these powders on aging skin, on any skin actually, it doesn't matter what age you are actual perfection. Susan said, I have last year's Tiger palette and purchased the Lotus this year, and she has light to medium skin tone. And the bronzer in the Tiger is too light for even her. And she loves a red blush. So you get a perfect, because you get a red blush in this year's palette. But it is a shame that someone with a light medium complexion can use the darkest palette, you know? Because that one should be for people with deep complexion, especially the bronzer. And it's always, as I was saying earlier, the bronzer that I think causes the most discomfort. But anyways, look at, like, you guys saw the mess I made with the bronzer and the blush, and like look at how everything, even though I was being very heavy-handed, everything came together beautifully. So I used the two blushes, the bronzer, and this powder to make everything super nice and cohesive. I think I'm going to grab a little bit of this and maybe do a little natural highlighter up here. Yeah, that looks really pretty. So I'm very, very excited to get my palette. I already got my shipping notification and everything, so hopefully they are going to be here very, very soon and I can review them and try them and play with them all the time. So Lamer said, my understanding is that the theme is around luck. The dragon is lucky, evil eye protects and gives luck, and the lotus flower is also a lucky symbol. Okay, that clarifies that. I thought they would stick with the animal theme, but I'm glad that there is some cohesiveness to the story. See, I did not know, because like the dragon thing and the evil eye one makes sense, but I had no idea that the lotus flower was actually also something that meant good luck. So that is, you learn something new every day. You do. You guys see how pretty these powders make your skin look? I am obsessed. So I cannot wait to try this year's palette. I have a bunch of messages from my friend Andrea being like, girl, what are you doing? And laughing because I was so confused earlier with the website thing. Anyways, I guess that's it. Do you guys have any questions? You want to chat about anything else? I have nothing else to do. I was carrying my baby all day. She was being fuzzy. Got her shots today, but now that she's asleep, I feel like I can talk to you a little more. The live is 44 minutes long already. I'm definitely not going to be here all night, but I've been having fun. Okay, let me go back to some of the previous messages. Drea was saying they can do better and make them richer. It's not deep enough. The light one is for, and yes, the light palette is definitely for my complexion. Andrea said she was trying to stop me from applying bronzer earlier. Look at how good I look after all that bronzer I applied still. You know, we can always go back and blend a little more with the Hourglass powders that just go. I just was trying to show the amazing quality. Even if you do too much, you can tone it down. And then, alrighty. Oh my god, 107 of you are watching, and I'm over here like doing absolutely nothing. Are my messages not coming through or something? So, hola desde Argentina, me encantan tus videos. Hola Sol, gracias. ¿Qué hora es en Argentina? No tengo idea. Un poco más. What color palettes did I pick up? I picked up all three because I am psycho and I want to swatch them and try them for you guys. What makeup are you most excited about for fall? This is definitely one of the top releases every fall for me. Besides the Hourglass Ambient palette releases, I usually, by the way, I pick up all three to review here on my channel. I don't think you need more than one though. I only use one for the most part, and it's usually the lightest one, so go according to your complexion. That would be my advice. I pick up all three because this is what I do for a living, and I get to show you. But unless you're collecting them or something like that, you definitely do not need to buy more than one of these palettes for yourself. Anyways, so back to what I'm most excited about. I'm always looking forward for the Huda Beauty palette release because she releases one palette a year, and it's always usually during October. So I'm excited to see the Huda Beauty palette for this year. You guys, can you believe that Pat McGrath did not launch a Mothership palette yet this year? Pat McGrath Mothership palettes have been launching in August for the past several years as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes even like end of July, beginning of August. We are in September and the Pat McGrath Mothership palette is not even announced yet. What in the world is going on with that brand? Because one thing is to like make products that like get discounted fast because they're not selling that well. But the most iconic thing, in my opinion, it's not an opinion, it's a fact. The most iconic thing in the Pat McGrath brand is definitely her Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. And she's been releasing at least one of them for the past several years since her brand launch. And this year it is September 3rd, and we have not even heard the announcement of a Mothership palette. Something fishy is going on. I would say that I'm looking forward to that release, if it is going to release, if it comes out ever, who knows. So the Huda release, maybe the Pat McGrath release if she ends up releasing anything. Susan says, I purchased the Patrick Ta foundation, so you review and know you're wearing it, and it makes me really excited for the foundation and the Lotus palette. I am wearing it, and I am loving the Patrick Ta foundation. It's just like the perfect amount of glowy, and it looks really beautiful on my complexion. I do still think shade 10 is a little light, and it's weird because when I put it on, like the moment I put it on, I don't think it's light. I think it's the right color, but then after it dries down, I feel like it gets lighter, which is weird because I've never heard of a foundation doing that. But in my opinion, maybe it gets a little lighter. I don't know. Am I going to exchange it again? No, I'm going to be happy with shade 10, and I will get paler, so it'll eventually actually match me better. But I thought I had fixed my shade issue, and I just made it better, but I don't know, I didn't fully fix it. Anyways, Kaser says she's worried that Pat McGrath is not making the Mothership palettes anymore. Here's what's weird. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Wayne. Someone who usually messages me often on Instagram, I think it was Wayne, said that they had asked the Pat McGrath team, I guess, on Pat McGrath's Instagram account when the Mothership palette was coming. And this was months ago. And they kept saying very soon, very soon. So I'm guessing at some point they'll have the Pat McGrath Mothership palette actually launched this year. But I don't know, because it's like pushing into holiday releases at this point. whatever's going on with Pat McGrath is bizarre. Okay? Pat McGrath needs rebranding, or just go back to what she was doing at the beginning. I don't know what happened. I was wondering if Pat McGrath was going to announce a new mothership palette, but it's been crickets. I know. I'm happy you did this live. It's my first Patty live. Welcome. I'm crocheting a baby blanket and only like to watch positive things when I do that. So this was perfect. Let me stop being negative about Pat McGrath right now. I'm so happy that you chose to watch my video, honestly. Denessa just released a color palette. Yes, and it is beautiful. I saw it's like the stackable one. Maybe we should look at that on Instagram. I can't believe we're the same shade right now. I know. Andrea went to the beach, she got a tan, and now we're using the same Patrick Tap foundation shade, which is crazy because we're always like 5 shades apart. Bonnie says I'm getting the dragon one. I think these powders are smooth and good on aging skin like mine. Yes, they are absolutely going to work for aging skin. And it'll totally be worth it, especially because you get a ton of use out of this palette. Hola Patty, saludos desde Chile. Hola Claudia, ¿cómo estás? I love Pat, but she's bumming me out lately. Amen. Amen. I'm really thankful you explained so well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Should we go? Should we like just look at Instagram at Trend Mood? Let's go. Let's just look at Trend Mood's account and see the Denessa Myricks palettes if they're here. I think I saw earlier on Instagram that they were here. Or maybe we need to look at the Denessa Myricks page because Trend Mood doesn't have it. Hold on, I'll show you guys the screen in a second. I'm looking for the Denessa Myricks palettes so we can. Ooh, I found them. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Let's talk about it. So here we are. Here's the Denessa Myricks palettes. Here's the announcement. Says the Freedom palette is on its way, and she is excited to show us the newest addition to the Lightwork collection. It's a beautiful stackable oh, it's so that shimmer shade. Honestly, the packaging of these is so exciting. Look at how they come, and then you can stack them together. I had not seen that full video. I'm very excited for this Denessa Myricks release, actually. How much is this going to be, an arm or a leg? It just says join me on Instagram. Let's see if it's available. Jay loves you. Welcome. It is late. I had a fuzzy baby all day, so we just, we're making do over here. This is going to be so freaking beautiful. I love the pinky and the greenish gold color story. You'll know how I'm not the biggest fan of blues, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me go back to the other posts. I just want to see. Oh, Andrea says it's 128. The new Denessa is going to be different than past releases. This one you can take apart and pick shades if you want. And it is going to be 128. I love that it's different though. Absolutely love that it's different. And it looks like it's going to, does it have matte shades in it as well? Hold on, I want to go back to here. Or is it all shimmers like, because on this video it looks like it's all shimmers to me. But on the description of the other one, she was talking about like matte finishes. I don't see any matte finishes on here, which is totally fine. Denessa's holiday palette usually doesn't have any mattes in it. It's usually all pigments. I'm excited about this. 128 is a bit of, okay, Andrea saying no mattes. Dry works at Sephora, so she has, she knows what she's talking about. She's seen it before. She knows what's coming in the next few months. You can bug her and just be like, tell me what's coming, but she won't break. She won't tell you. what's coming. It's secret. Anyways, I'm excited for this Denessa Myricks palette for sure, and I will be getting it when it launches. Let me go back to Trendwood and see if we can just have anything else, if anything else exciting happening. The MAC review looks cute. The MAC thing looks kind of cute. And what is all this? What is all that? Let's see. Almost that time again. Holiday 2024. Oh, it's Lancome's Holiday 2024 collection. I don't care. There's more than just Lancome on here. Lancome and Dior. I don't care for Dior eyeshadows, to be honest with you. They're okay. The Lancome lipsticks are probably beautiful. I also don't care for the eyeshadows from Lancome. This down here looks like Laura Mercier. Laura Mercier doesn't launch anything new for the holidays. She just puts the same things she's been launching all year in holiday packaging, which is beautiful for gifts, but it's not something exciting to me. And then, what's the brand on the bottom left? Is that Chantecaille? It's one of the brands I usually don't review. But lots of things coming for holiday 2024. The MAC stuff looks good. Is there anything else that's super exciting? I'm actually pretty excited to try this because I love Westman Atelier. You guys know that. So I'm pretty excited to try the new Westman Atelier concealer. This just became a whole will I buy it video, okay? Andrea's like, my lips are sealed, but things are coming, and she's excited about them. Trendwood, even Trendwood doesn't know yet, okay? When I worked at Sephora, I had, I think, the same position that Drea has now at Sephora. And one of the things we got access to, or she has access to, is like the list of like new product launches coming, and I was always all up in there looking at everything that was coming soon in beauty, which is, you know, it's exciting for us, okay? It's exciting for us. Okay, honestly, nothing much besides that excites me from Trendwood. This is why I haven't done a will I buy it video this week, because I'm like, okay, I don't know. I heard this Mario powder is good, and everyone's comparing it to the Givenchy powder that they discontinued or changed the formula to. So I think I have to try it. Ooh, it has a puff too. Why am I excited about the puff? The puff looks cute. But honestly, if you're looking for a bomb translucent powder, I said this in my last live video, to replace your Givenchy powder with, or just a bomb translucent powder in general that you're going to love. The Denessa Myricks translucent powder, the one with the pink undertone, is the most perfect, the most beautiful, my absolute most favorite translucent powder in existence, and I highly recommend it, okay? Highly recommend it. And I think I will wrap up this live now. We've been live for almost an hour. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Andrea saying the Mario powders and the spray are amazing. Drea is Makeup by Mario's brand #1 fan. She loves everything from Makeup by Mario. I do love a lot of his products too. The foundation though, not for me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I could not believe how many of you joined, given the fact that I uploaded this video so late. And if you watched the repeat instead of the live and you stayed all the way to the end, you are the real MVP, because we had some struggles in this video, okay? I know, don't comment it. I don't want to hear you about my struggles in the comment section. I had a long day. It's 11 o'clock and I can't internet anymore. If you guys liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. If you're shopping for the palettes and you want to help out my channel, shop the link I left you in the description box and the link I left you in the pinned comment. I love you all so much. Subscribe. I have this subscribe thing. I never use it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Mwah. Thank you, Drea, for being my moderator once again. And thank you to everyone who joined my live today. I love you guys.